whatever features of the coastal mountains from different angles, you start to get like a deeper understanding of the geography. And so I guess I'm seeing things from new angles so that I can have a more thorough understanding of geography here.
I like that. I like to have like a deep exploration of an area. Like last year I went to more trails out of Lions Bay than anywhere else, and I liked all the time I spent exploring there. Going back to the same main trail didn't bother me that much.
So this is parking like in Lions Bay town.
Yeah.
It's pay parking, right?
Yeah.
How much is it?
It's like $23 if you park at the top of the trailhead. It's like 15 if you park a little lower. And there's also, I've never actually parked here, but I've heard that there's a third spot for public parking if you go to the school.
Okay.
Which is like a bit further down. Apparently they started the pay parking.
So are we on this All Trails?
After COVID. Yeah, let's check a look. Yeah. Yeah?
Okay. 'Cause I don't...
Have a look.
Just trying to match it up with this.
So how's work been lately?
Oh, slow. But I don't know. This work I do is kind of like I haven't really had anything to do in the last 2 weeks. No issues to deal with or anything. It's almost like stresses me out because I feel like, what am I doing? I have had some maintenance tasks to do, but yeah, it stresses me out because I feel like this is just like a flood building or something.
Oh, like if it's quiet for too long, you think that the dam's gonna break.
Yeah, well, it definitely is going to break in the sense that, well, this week I was working. I started to build some new images, which I had to do, and I'll have to update a whole bunch of stuff. So now I actually have work, but 2 weeks I was like not doing much. Probably should have been preparing more, but
yeah. If only you could really appreciate the downtime as much as you could in retrospect. You know what I mean? After the fact, you're always like, oh, that was a really good period that I had there.
always something to do. Yeah, I don't know. I feel
Look at the Baldy. Looks beautiful,
That's
eh?
Garibaldi?
I mean, I couldn't tell you 100%, but I think that's Diamond Head that we're looking at. That's the Garibaldi
Oh, yeah.
mountain range.
Yeah, anyways, I feel like as soon as I have like time in my work life, like I didn't have that much to do. It's just like a whole bunch of tasks from my personal life take over anyways. So,
You're gonna always be busy with something.
yeah. But I don't know, like, I was thinking about as I was heading out today, like, fuck man, we did like, remember one winter we tried Elfin Lakes overnight and failed? And then that same winter we tried it again, right?
That sounds about right.
Like, I just can't. Will I ever have?
Ooh, this might be good crampon areas.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Thinking like, will I ever have time to casually do a couple overnights?
I mean, I think you just do it. Hopefully Zhenya isn't too upset if you do.
Well, that's the thing. I never like. Yeah, for a few years I could like say, oh well, I have a young daughter. I guess I can't do something. But she's 5. Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't be affecting you now.
How long do you need to wait?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess basically what I'm saying is sometimes I feel like we're not very efficient parents or something. Like,
Efficient? What do you think you could do more efficiently? Like, you mean you don't need to have both parents to do
yeah,
something?
but we kind of always, or very often do.
You wish you could pass off like a baton?
Yeah,
Like,
well,
like it's a relay or
I
something?
feel like we used to do it better. The problem is now, as kids gets older, they get more and more willful, and like you can no longer convince them to do stuff. Like, I used to take my swimming, just me, all the time. And yesterday I tried and tried, but she was like, she's not going unless Zhenya came as well.
Interesting. Maybe it's like starting to become like a gender thing. Like maybe she is thinking about changing and all that kind of stuff, having that privacy maybe?
I still changed her. No, I don't think she's squeamish at all about me changing her. It's more, I don't know, she just realizes her own power now to demand things. That's a pretty cool house. Sort of vacant underneath, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's always a little bit unique. There's always something interesting going on if you pay attention to it. Nice.
Ice pickers up like that?
No, I don't.
The name for it, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was. I've lately been kind of looking at like expanding some of my knowledge and playing around with video editing, and there's some like really cool edits you can make if you shoot at a high frame rate. So I was like previously just like recording around like 240 frames a second, and it's like, okay, I don't need to be doing that right now.
Memory intensity?
Well, I wonder how much more memory it takes up space, because I do have to drop my resolution for that higher frame rate.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
I got a new phone like a month ago. It's so shitty.
The new phone? Is it the Google Pixel?
Yeah.
What's shitty about it?
The battery is terrible. Like worse than my
Samsung?
almost as bad as my Samsung.
That's like
in
years
its
old.
broken state.
Yeah. Oh
State,
man.
but like I was like,
And you bought your Google Pixel new, right?
yeah, no, I'm trying to get some service because something's not right. But also just like, I don't really like this stock Android UI that everybody raves about. Like, That's one of the big things. Is like the great thing about Google Pixel is it's just like this sort of like stock Android.
Right.
I thought it would be like simpler and nicer, and now I'm like realizing that Samsung actually probably put a lot of thought into their UI and it was better.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I guess like the way I think about it is stock would be like vanilla, right? And then anything that the independent or individual companies change are like their own little flavors on top. Like they might add some chocolate chips to the mix. Maybe they'll be like sprinkles.
yeah, but a very common like sentiment with that is like, oh, you're getting bloatware. Look at this.
Oh yeah. That looks kind of thick. That's like at least an inch thick, isn't it?
Yeah, so cool. I thought like, oh, well, I'm probably getting Samsung bloat crap where, you know? Did I do it?
It's up to you. I mean, oh, that just sounds satisfying.
Anyways,
yeah, that's a good hunk of ice.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is now I think that it wasn't bloatware, it was like slick UI. It made the phone easier.
Right.
In general, I feel like this, because the big thing with this generation of phones was like, ooh, it's like AI powered. It's got like a TensorFlow core that processor for enhanced AI features, and I feel like it's kind of, you know the phrase too clever by half?
No, I don't actually.
When something tries to be so slick that it's actually like gets in your way, like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of features that are like, it's like, oh, I would rather do that manually than, like the Bluetooth switching is like, it's trying too hard to make things simple, but it's like, if you just let me do this, if I know I'm taking this connection manually, it's like gonna be easier. Then like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right. So then you have like an extra point of pain that you didn't have beforehand when things were just a little simpler.
Right. So yeah, I'm not digging it.
Well, I mean, all you can do is give something a go, right? So you just voted in Google Pixel for the next 4 years.
Well, I'm hoping that maybe if I could get a replacement, because the battery definitely has issues. If I got a new replacement that was in a box, maybe I could just sell it and go for the Samsung.
Right. Yeah. Hope that works out.
Speaking
well, how long does the battery last? Like, what are we talking?
Well, the thing is, I can't get through a day with it, and like the thing that makes me sure it's fucked is that like last night I went to bed with it at 100%. I wake up, it's at 80. Like doing nothing in.
Right.
I have my phone set to like night mode.
Right.
Like there's no way my Samsung, even with its really old battery, would only drop like 3% at night. You know? So that's weird.
Well, who knows? Maybe there's a lot of background tasks that are going on, well, or it's as you think, the battery's just shitty.
I did do a bunch of troubleshooting, like turning off 5G network, because apparently that can drain battery. And I did some other troubleshooting, but it didn't work. Speaking of AI, did you look into this Sora at all? This new release from OpenAI?
I kind of watched it third hand, some of the videos that were posted. Yeah, It seems pretty remarkable.
Yeah. I was surprised to see a quote. I didn't read the article, but just the headline quote from whatever, the Disney guy. Is it Katzenberg or something?
Okay.
Anyways, he was talking about how, like,
I think it's Bobby Katzman.
is it, are you just making that up? Anyways, saying something astounding, like looking to like eliminate 80% of animation jobs in the coming years. Like, whoa.
It's kind of insane, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, even if you are talking long term and that's like a realistic thing, surprised to hear it said out loud, because
Yeah, it's like
what does that
you were
do to your
supposed to
current
say that.
workforce? It's just,
Yeah, everybody's.
by the way, guys, fuck you. You're like, first chance we get, you're fucking out of here.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has to change their underwear right now.
But I still can't get on board with this, like, okay, actually, here's a question for you. You'll know better than me. I was looking at some of their demonstration videos, and they're all like, they are very impressive, like the fidelity. They're like, wow, you said like, whatever, some random command, and you're generating like video that's pretty convincing, but at the same time, I'm sure if you looked at them, all of them have artifacts. You're like, oh, okay, you can see.
If you're like, you know, got your rake out, you're able to see that there's like.
Like I saw like one of the videos was like, you know, wolf pups walking along a gravel road.
And they start like to jump and multiply.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so it is amazing. Like, if you take a still, you're like, wow, that's got to be from a video, a real video.
Right.
But say, like, let's say I'm replacing my workforce. Like, I don't need to hire somebody to go shoot some wolves. Just do this. But then you're gonna have to clean it up.
Yeah.
Doesn't cleaning it up look really fucking hard?
It
like,
does.
By the time you clean this up, are you sure you don't just like go find the fucking wolf pups and
you're moving the effort just into another area instead of like taking the time to film and stage or create.
Yeah.
You're going to be moving most of your effort into editing if you want to have that flawless shot, right? But
cleaning that up looks like a really complex editing task. You know? Like, there was no video, as impressive as they all were, that I didn't see any that you would like just drop in.
right.
It's like, oh, they've all have like really weird flaws.
Yeah, but I think that the thing, okay, so I think its true value is not for, like, at this point in time, is not necessarily for feature productions, but for everyone else, like the YouTube market, who just wants a shot that gets the idea across.
Oh,
and the
so you would, like, replace any royalty-free stock video, yeah.
Exactly. I watched this video by Marky Brownlee, I think his name is.
Yeah.
And he actually made this point that where he thinks this is really gonna have its greatest impact at this point in time, or whenever this Sora gets released, is in the stock footage market.
Okay.
And he also made a good point in saying that at this point in time, this is the worst version of video AI that we'll ever see.
Yeah.
And like, he made this comparison to where it was a year ago. He showed this clip of Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I hadn't seen that previously, but to tell you the truth, I actually think that its flaws in AI generation are its most interesting aspects. Like, I think that those anomalies that you would never intentionally try to make are its signature to me. Its actual quality. And I think that the more we try to perfect it, I think it becomes less and less interesting. Like if you can literally just go outside and get a shot of people walking down the street, if you can just, you know, go out and stage someone in front of a green screen and pretty much get the same shot within minutes, I'm like, okay, so you're just doing this because you don't want to do that. But it's not that much better or simpler. But yeah, like, did you see that little clip of a guy in a cloud reading a book?
No.
Okay, yeah, there's this clip. I guess the prompt was, you know, a youngish guy reading a book in a cloud. And it looks like that. But it's kind of interesting in that it's like a medium shot, where it's like from his waist to his head. And you can see that he's like on a cloudy texture, but the cloud isn't really moving, and you don't see what he's at, like where his feet are at. So you like, for me, I'm thinking I could easily replicate that shot by just having like some cotton wool or something on a couch, shoot him in front of a green screen, and you could easily put that together yourself with minimal effort, and then you wouldn't have any of the anomalies. But then again, I think if people actually embraced what it does well, like what it does out of the box, I think that you have this vocabulary that we didn't have previously, and I actually kind of like that. Like I don't like the idea.
But would like, if you're a young filmmaker and you're bringing in some AI footage that has anomalies, what do? Like change your story based on the anomalies, or
well,
I mean, people want control, right?
Well, that's exactly it. It depends on what you're trying to do. I think it's based on what the experiences you're trying to create. If you're trying to be a feature-length movie producer, I think that you're going to have a team of editors. And those jobs, I would hate to work. Like, I honestly don't think you could pay me all the money in the world because of how thankless I'd feel it would be. You know what I mean? Like, I would go home. Yeah, but editing AI poop.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're doing. Like, that specific task. Like, it's one thing to edit a shot and it be someone else's, but to edit that and to just like filter out all these weird inconsistencies and quirks, like it would be so time consuming, and it would be, I just think, very thankless. It's like, it's not like I could go home and tell the people I know about how I spent my day and be boastful about it. Not that I think I would ever really be boastful about what I do, but I do think that there's a lot of quiet comfort that I get when I exercise my creativity in my job that I have now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know much about how it relates to visual arts and stuff, but like, yeah, I was talking with Ryan about this, and he was saying, well, no, it's going to be like indistinguishable like very soon, and he sent me like a New York Times article that was like, oh, can you detect the AI generated faces versus the real pictures of people?
Yeah, it's like a visual Turing test.
And I was like, well, that, to me, that's not like kind of convincing test. Like, from my, okay, so for what I've been using, say ChatGPT and Google Gemini a lot for, is like programming, not even like to program for me, but sometimes just concepts. Like, I don't understand this thing here, like, let me treat ChatGPT or Gemini as my very own tutor, and ask it questions and follow-up questions and blah, blah, blah. And it's pretty bad at it. Like, it's very clear that this is not a human. Like, it doesn't ever try, it always prioritizes like a really neat summary that fits into a perfect length. It'll never give you like a one sentence provocative answer that's maybe a question to probe what you're learning. It doesn't know how to do that.
Well,
It just keeps spitting out like very well formed but very uninformative bits of text. And it's like, oh, now I gotta wade through this pointless fucking answer, like,
yeah.
and not to mention it's wrong a lot. But so to me that would be an AI test. Like, show me that something can actually be an effective teacher of something.
Yeah. Well,
a chat, a dialogue, and it's not even close to me.
well, I kind of feel like the product that these AIs are, like the way that they are now, is by design. I think that in the way that you even described it, these perfect length descriptions, it's trying to give the illusion of providing some sort of answer to your query, but it's not actually thinking about what it would actually take to learn what it's actually giving, right? Like, I don't think that it's programmed to have a conversation with you unless it's actually a chat bot. I kind of feel like where I see this going is maybe in the future. I kind of feel like there might be like a big mother AI that's going to provide the service of your own personal AI. So you're going to be able to, you know, subscribe, pay a subscription rate to having your own perfectly tailored experience with this prompt machine, right? With this algorithm, with this large language model, whatever you want to call it. So if you want to have something that's more of a tutor or something that asks you those probing questions, then that could be tailored into the experience by, you know, checking a box. And it could be individualized.
Yeah, I suppose I was thinking of signing up for this, like, because Google released their new chatbot and they have a premium version. Oh, I guess we could trial it. I should trial it for free, I guess. But I'm skeptical whether it would be worth the money.
Well, I think that we're all early adopters at this point in time. I mean, obviously, a lot of people could have been playing around with it for a year plus, but I haven't actually played around with any of them. I'm still an outsider, but I think that
You haven't had any ChatGPT?
none. I haven't even prompted once. But
Is it like out of sort of personal protest, or you're just not that curious, or what?
yeah, I guess I have up until this point very keenly scrutinized its actual feature, its selling points. I've wondered what it would actually add to my life, and I've been reluctant to adopt it. But I think that if you're an early adopter, you're going to come across a lot of learning experiences, and you're going to figure out a lot of its quirks. You're going to build that relationship with this platform that much earlier and sooner. And you might be able to bear some fruits down the road that you'll be able to say, hey, if I didn't pick this up, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I don't want to say that I don't see any value.
Well, the only fruits I've gotten is like, because at first I was like, oh, kind of skeptical, and then I was like, okay, let's like really try to use this in my daily work life, because I always have questions, always Googling. So, and at first I was like, I had some valuable interactions. I was like, oh, that was like really great summation of the problem space. I'm gonna like keep that, and then like as I got more and more experience, like, yeah, again, it's just like I almost know what ChatGPT is gonna say, and now I find myself, without even thinking about it too much, just thinking like, oh, just go to a blog that's good, like,
Right.
because like there's something about a human explaining something to you that is valuable.
I think it's interesting how apparently, like, so I've heard, some of these platforms have gone through peaks and valleys of development, how over time some of the services have actually like dipped in quality because of user interaction. And I find that, again, very, very interesting, because for like a disembodied, you know, program to try to interact with these, you know, human flesh bags in their out-of-box reality, it must be very, very strange to know what is right, unless it's constantly being told what is right. So again, I kind of feel like you're just moving the effort to another position. Like, I kind of feel like these chat GPT bots are going to constantly have to be edited and maintained, constant maintenance done on going over every interaction, making sure that nothing aberrant is happening.
Right.
So I really don't know if there's like really much efficiency being gained. I just think that like the money's being moved around. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of feel like it's a bit of a clamshell game that we're all kind of being sucked into. But like, the biggest problem that I have with it on an ethical platform is that what all these large language models are founded on is all of humanity's uploaded content.
Yeah.
It's, I think, very, very strange to be living in our world at this point in time, coming out of generations of indoctrination over copyright and authorship and plagiarism, and all of a sudden we're like traversing this ground where we're saying, no, this product can exist because it's backed by one of the biggest companies in the world.
Right. As opposed to saying it's just a plagiarism machine.
Well, it is. it wouldn't be able to do what it's doing if it didn't have access to what it does. But when we look at what someone made, it's like seeing like the tip of an iceberg without understanding the journey and the value of it. It's like seeing someone's qualities but not understanding like what they are not doing to be where they are, right? Like all the decisions that they're maybe quietly not making,
Right.
or making but without visible appearance. Like, I kind of think that when you look at art and you just think about the production of it, you're skipping the journey and you just want to be at the destination. And when you're like driving by the road, it's sometimes, I sometimes see as driving as a chore. And I have to constantly make an effort to think, man, I gotta like slow down and like look at this amazing day that I'm like living right now. Pay attention to the sky, like pay attention to everything that's around me. I think that we have senses for a reason, and I think that like this is all like valuable information that like allows us to grow and like develop and mature. And I think that if we skip the process, always trying to get to the end goal. I think that we are also robbing ourselves of any growth. Like, it's like all our efforts are like falling leaves. You know what I mean? And I kind of feel like now that everyone's like, now that a lot of these creative productions are going to become democratized, you can argue and say, oh, that's a great thing. Everyone's going to be able to make it a lot of things. But I kind of feel like the image that keeps coming into my mind is this image of like monkeys at typewriters. And I think it's just going to be like a lot of noise.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe not everybody has something worth expressing, I guess.
But at the same time, I do think that there's positives in there too. Because I think that a lot of art is made with way too much awareness. And what I mean is, I think a lot of people self-censor their ideas thinking, what would it actually mean if I make this? And I think that a lot of the interesting AI art is this kind of like degenerative art that, again, highlights a lot of like aberrant thoughts, a lot of things that I think a lot of artists would almost be too self-censoring to do. And I kind of feel like there is something interesting there. You know what I mean? Like, if through the shit, I actually think that there's something interesting there.
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely like a temptation. Like when I was younger and thinking I wanted to like maybe make films one day or something, I would get like a flash of a scene in my head, like, and then I could sometimes like spin out a story based on that. But I would think like, oh, but it'll be so like that. Just that one shot will be so incredibly complex. And now, I guess with maybe text to video, you could imagine like, oh, that's not going to be such a problem for people anymore.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a good thing, but I don't know, maybe.
I kind of feel like this is a tremendous like leapfrog in creativity, and I think that if you can get to the point where you're actually being creative with it, if you can learn how to dance this AI dance, I do think that there might be like great value in some of its efforts. I don't want to like say that I think it's all just absolute shit. Like, I just don't want to seem like that close-minded.
Right. Well, but just to finish my thought, like the thing I was thinking then when I was remembering those times when I was younger and wanting to build off this one shot. But now I think, well, maybe there's a good reason why like I would have been kept from building a whole story around this one shot. It's because like I didn't really have an idea. I just kind of like some shot flashed into my mind that I thought was cinematic and I was excited by it. Like, I don't know, maybe this is somewhat to your point, like maybe it's good to be held back by like having to do legwork sometimes, because it forces you to stop and think about your idea and maybe refine it or think, you know?
Yep. Well, I don't think that there's any harm in any approach. I think that there's room for growth in every direction. I just think that if you deceive yourself into thinking what you're doing as being the end goal, a shot isn't a movie.
Yeah.
But a shot is a shot, and the shot can be the seed to something else. I guess I think it's basically, I kind of feel like there's no harm in exploring anything. You're gonna learn regardless. But I kind of feel like a lot of people are doing things because that's what they think they ought to be doing, not because of what they really feel inside. Yeah, we make a pretty good way.
See?
Yeah, of course. Here we go. Here's some flagging tape.
Pretty good. I think we can make it to that peak, eh?
I believe. What's the last hike that we just went up, the two of us? Seymour? So when was that, like September? It's been a while.
I think maybe later, even maybe October. No?
Okay.
Yeah, we were finding a lot of mushrooms. It must have been
A little later in fall.
October. I think.
I hadn't started working yet, right?
Right.
So it's before November.
Maybe Holly would like to join us. We're camping in August at Galliano. We went there late last year, and really liked the provincial campground there. So yeah, we booked some spots. But I don't know for sure if we want to join, like, Zhenya's brother from England is coming.
Oh, screw that. I don't want to spend time with Zhenya's brother from England.
I know. No, I just was going to say that there's, like, they have a son. So him and Maya.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Two peas in a pod?
Obviously, you don't, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you want to join.
Well, what's the area like?
It's a provincial campground. At first we went there and we drove and we were like, oh, we gotta get there early so we can get a camping spot. And we did get a car camping spot, like the last one. And we were about to register and we were like, oh, let's go check out the like walk-in sites. And they were like way better. So we chose to park. They're not, it's not like a hike in, it's just like walk like 100 meters or whatever. But yeah, the sites are very picturesque, but it's still whatever, it's a provincial campground. Outhouses and everything, and then like a short walk from the campground is like this beach it's quite nice, it's interesting, it's like, it looks like white sand beach. And you're like, oh, that looks so nice. But actually the sand is like made of shells, basically.
Beater up shells?
A little bit sharp.
Oh yeah.
Like not that you cut your feet, you walk on it fine, but you wouldn't roll around on it necessarily.
Okay.
But then actually you go around this little like outcropping. It's like a really nice little hike, and there's like nicer and nicer little beaches, and yeah, very picturesque.
That sounds lovely. Yeah, why not, man? We'd be down, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how many sites we booked, if we have like one property or not, or I think we could still book one, right?
Well, let us know if you need like a hard yes and when things are happening, but
Well,
I'm assuming pretty...
If we can book an extra one, or if we already booked an extra one, then the only time we'd need a hard yes is like at cancellation
Right.
cutoff, right? So that's about it.
I think Holly's working until August, but figure out the dates and then
It was like August 15th or something.
Okay.
Like actually, Jenny's parents are coming too, but they're gonna stay at an Airbnb.
Okay. You don't want to rough it? Yeah, it'd be fun to meet everyone.
I don't know, if I was you guys, I would even bring the bike. 'Cause it's,
Bring the bikes?
I feel like we could explore Galiano by bike nicely. And that campground is not too far of a drive. It's like not too far of a bike. I think it's like less than 5K.
Cool.
Do you guys have any plans already for summer?
No, not really.
No Shambhala or anything?
I think if we could, we might try to go, but tickets sold out, but that doesn't mean that we wouldn't be able to get a ticket down the road.
Tickets are sold out now?
Yeah, they sold out pretty quick apparently this year.
Like, oh wow.
Last year was the first year in like 5 years that we didn't go. And I think Shambhala is a bit of like a special place for both of us. We both kind of missed it. But I'm always of the mind that when a door closes, a window opens, you know? It might give us time to do something else. And we went to Spain and Italy last year instead, so it's not like we did nothing.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to go to Europe soon. It's been so long.
Yeah, I'm trying to put together a little trip to Asia Plus when I'm done work.
Asia Plus?
Yeah, well, Thailand Plus.
Oh, okay. Thailand plus what? Like Malaysia or something?
I have to put some thought into it. Cambodia, Vietnam, maybe Japan.
You've never been to Indonesia, have you?
No.
You should do that. I'd love to go back to Indonesia.
Would you want to go?
Yes.
Like, could you?
Maybe. Like you're talking in the fall then, right?
No, I'm thinking of when I'm done work. So
Oh, soon.
my show wraps like beginning of April. I think it might be my final weeks. Early April.
Oh, I don't know if I could do it then.
I wonder if snowshoes might be good now. What do you think? Are we in snowshoe territory? Like,
Getting there.
it's a little slushy, eh? The snow feels wet.
Yeah. But if you don't go and you want to maybe go in fall, that's like a little more likely for me.
Okay. Both times I've been to Thailand, the star destination has been this Buddhist hermitage, Swan Walk, in Suratani.
Is that north of Bangkok?
No, it's south.
Oh.
But they have like a sister monastery in Koh Samui. I don't know if I've ever actually been to Koh Samui, but I heard it's absolutely beautiful. So I was thinking that would be like my number one reason for going to Thailand, is going to this new place in Koh Samui.
So to do a retreat there or what?
Yeah, I
guess yesterday would be a good guess.
twig hooked me.
Could this be willow, maybe?
That's another guess. I'm not sure. So when did you get up this morning?
4:45.
Good on you, man. Bravo for coming over so quickly.
What's that?
Bravo for coming over so quickly. All right.
Oh, I felt like that was a bit slow actually on the ice, but...
Okay, watch out, eh? Big step down. No problem. Yeah, it's a little bit slow going, right? This reminds me of Goat Ridge that I did one year coming back from Sky Pilot for the last few kilometers. Or actually no, it was a section of it, not the last. Holy, big drop off. Last few kilometers, had to go through this kind of, yeah, it was summer, so didn't have to deal with the snow, but
Even worse than winter, maybe.
in some ways, man, that was, I don't know if I've talked to you about that trip, but that was a crazy trip.
I think you told me how somebody led you like a school.
Yeah, it was like a group of 5 of us, and one of us suggested, hey, let's take a different approach on the way back. We did like an overnight camping on this glacier on Sky Pilot. It was such a great trip up until that point.
Yeah.
So we decided to follow this goat ridge on the way back, and it like led us into this valley where the trail, if you want to call it that, basically skirted sudden cliff drops.
Right.
Right? So we're marching forward, thinking that any way we go is going to lead to the highway eventually, right? So we're like, if we keep pressing this way, we'll get back onto the road. So in our minds, we're like, okay, let's just have faith. So eventually, you know, through a lot of backtracking and, you know, skirting of pretty precarious terrain, we found ourselves, we finally saw like this like Forest Service road across the way. We made ourselves to it, and that's where it was just like poplar branches like slapping you in the face for like kilometers. And then we went through that and we made our way to this river.
In order to get to the Forest Service road, you had to bushwhack like that?
No, on the Forest Service road. It was just
a super thin road.
it was very overgrown. It probably was out of use for many years. And then we got through it, and then we made ourselves to this river that was just, you know, gushing. Like the current was crazy, right? And we were walking beside this river for at least a couple of kilometers before we finally found a tree that bridged the other side. And oh yeah, there was no way we would have wanted to attempt crossing it without something of the sort, right?
What was the tree branch?
No, it was like a tree fell over.
It was a good crossing.
It was a good crossing, yeah. It was finally we found a tree that allowed us to cross easily. But man, like after that trip, I don't know how many more hikes I did with that crew. Two of them were from England. One of them was my girlfriend at the time, the Squamish forest ranger.
Okay.
And this other guy. Quite on set.
Well, I think the sound is like nice here where it tinkles down. Here, let me tinkle some for you. Bird?
Must be, like many birds.
It's so squeaky though.
They're like all around us, eh? 3D, D, D, D.
I feel like it sounds like a mouse almost, right?
The seabirds.
Yeah.
There's some over there bouncing around, some behind us to the right in front of us. They're around. Yeah, it's cool. Sloppy. Sloppy snow. Have I told you how fascinated I've been with sound lately since I was trying to teach myself Max MSP?
You did tell me about how interested you were in Max MSP.
But just thinking about like what is actually happening when sound is being created, it's so interesting to think about. Like when you clap your hands, you hear that explosion of sound. It's like the air compression and the force of your hands coming together. It's kind of creating like a little atomic bomb between your hands. Boom.
Compression and rarefaction.
Or when you're like, when you have like a piece of paper and you're just like wobbling it back and forth, it goes. It's like all of a sudden you found the voice of a piece of paper. It's like,
It's a rich kid.
yeah, man. Life is so incredibly amazing. And it's like, that's one of those things that I feel like when I was younger, you just like skate by how amazingly rich the world is. Yeah, and I think that that's one of those things that you get from a crude experience, is you get an appreciation. Yeah? Oh.
Yeah, sometimes I think back and I review how much more clarity I generally have about the world than when I was younger.
Whew. Steeper and slow going because of the sweatness. I love the colors on that boulder, the copper tones.
Would you say, I don't know if I would say it's wet as much as like, I guess it's wet a bit, but it's kind of more like soft or something.
It's slushy, I would call it. And you're right, there is like this hoarfrost on top, which is like, man, that looks so cool behind us. We've come away, eh?
Yeah.
It's always nice to have a peek up around, see where you came from. Ah. Going back to AI for a second, this is actually something I haven't really discussed with anyone, but I think that it's really good to acknowledge how, depending on what tool you use, it leaves its own, we talked about signatures before. It leaves its own signature. It has its own signature. Like, for instance, if I'm working in Photoshop, or if I'm working in ZBrush, if I'm working in, you know, Corel Painter or whatever, whatever software, because of the way that it's coded, it likes to be interacted in a certain way. And true masters can like learn and sometimes expand its horizons. It's like what go further in directions than other people have gone. But I feel like the more of the work that is done with you, more of the decisions that are made for you, the less you're going to have to creatively do yourself. And that's why I think I have a problem with editing AI, because it feels like what you're really doing is that last 10%, which is not very creative.
Right.
You're just kind of, yeah, exactly. You're not really doing much creative work. You're actually just doing the laborious stuff. And yeah, I think that it's actually going to have potentially, like, I can like be optimistic and say it might really improve our creative human potential by magnitudes, but I also think that it has great potential to limit our creative exploration. As these tools do more and more for us, the more we're going to accept whatever it does, and not really push beyond the box.
the limitations of its horizons.
Yeah, like there's an aesthetic that everything has. Like digital art at first, you know, it's like, oh, you know, things become a hallmark. Oh, that's, you know, what our computers can do right now. And then decades later, it becomes its own vocabulary. Oh, do you remember what 90s CGI looked like? Oh yeah, it looked like this. It becomes its own language.
Yeah.
I think that this is another thing that is going to have its own language, but I kind of feel like as it improves towards a specific vision of whatever the process is supposed to be, I'm going to put my kickers on my snowshoes. The more we're actually going to be limited to explore anything beyond it. Yeah. No, I think you're right. And I think that that is the strength of people, of humanity, of the mind, is that it almost feels like regardless of what pickle we find ourselves in, we're pretty inventive in going beyond it.
It's gonna be easy going down.
Oh yeah. Well, it's interesting to have these conversations, that's for sure. Oh.
Certainly can't have them with Virginia.
What do you mean?
I just try to have these conversations with her about like AI and what it means for art and work, and I don't know. She's usually just like, I don't know. How would I know? Like,
Oh, jeez. Thanks for breaking trail, dude. Jeez. I think my phone just told me we're off trail. Right. You probably took the right approach. 100%. Worth the views though. $200 Is that even possible? I thought we were like 1,400 like ways away. Isn't it only like 15 something?
Oh yeah, you're right. More like 150 probably.
Oh, 60. Never mind. Well, this looks like a good final push here that we're looking at.
Yeah, I think like it does look like the last is like the ridge to the peak. So I'm thinking like up there is probably close to 100. I don't know, that's got to be like between 50 meters and 100 up.
Right now?
Yeah. That little stuff there, maybe just 50, huh?
Well, good news is we're definitely like headed in the right direction.
What's that?
We're definitely headed in the right direction.
Yeah, just a fucking slog.
Actually, looks like we got a fair way to go.
Yeah.
And this is definitely like the steep section here.
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe we'll be blessed with amazing panoramic views. Honestly, we could have turned back at any point and I think today was still stellar.
Yeah.
But it is really, really nice having this bowl here, like where we can kind of get a glance at our journey.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of hikes you're following like this tree line where you can't really see where you were.
Are you seeing that cord as like where we were going through all those trees?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to say with any sort of confidence exactly where we were, but
I think it must be.
Maybe that was that poplar bit, right? The branches that we were threading through.
It was probably like an old logging road, and those are the small things that grow in there first.
Yeah.
And they overgrew, so that's why it stands out.
Cool.
Maybe mentally we should set possible break point. I'm thinking like up there, because up there we're exhausted and we see much of the same. Maybe we say that's good enough.
Yeah, that might be a good call because it's what, 1:15 now.
And I would say that's probably.
No, that is the peak. It is 100% the peak.
You think?
It is. Let's have a look.
Well then, one final push, eh?
One final push.
We can do it.
Of course we can. The slog continues. I guess so. Who knows, maybe there'd be more after that.
Pretty sure. But I don't know. Pretty happy. But if you wanted to try to make it, get my engines going,
Let's take a look at the time. How long do you figure it's going to take us to get out of here? Which we shouldn't go much longer then, because it's 1:45 now.
I'm happy to say we got close enough. Yeah.
All right, man.
That's going to be a lot of slipping on our side face, eh?
I mean, we can always like just see what it's like.
Sure.
Let's take a look at this view. Hey, give me a hug for trail breaking. Good job, buddy.
Unforgiving peak.
So it took us about half an hour or so to get to where we were from where we were to here. That looks a lot smaller. That looks like a third of what we did.
Oh, really? I thought that. Okay. Maybe my mind is playing tricks on me.
Oh, dude.
Nice.
Look at, is that the lions? Holy shit. I think it could be. That might be Brunswick to the left. Oh yeah, quite a view. What do you say, buddy? Break for lunch? Yeah. Right on, man. Congrats.
Oh, fuck yeah. I don't know what those are.
Did it! Man, that was a slog and a half. When did we start? Like 7:30?
Yeah.
And
Wow.
now the time is 1 o'clock. Wow. Your feet so quickly ice skate, eh? Oh fuck. You're like sending us into a fucking cliff, bro. Yeah. Fucking crazy. Dude, that looked like you went a little fast there. I think that was quote unquote a controlled fall. It's a little crunchy, eh? Fucking A, man. I don't know about this. Oh, fucking A. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, that's a bit steep.
Oh. Man, I think my underwear might be dirty. Oh. Holy shit. Did you notice that? I think I'm talking at a higher octave now.
Almost like some free fall there.
Yeah, for a second. Fucking A. Oh.